All right, well, welcome in, folks, once again. Folks, because, we're super hip and old.
We're hip
or something, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, adults of all ages of drinking age. And I suppose if you're younger, maybe you're just learning the ropes of beer for future reference.
Well, what is drinking age? It depends on the country. And for
true.
all these listeners out in other countries, some of them drink at 16, 15 years old.
If you're in a far-off land, a different country like Wisconsin, they let you drink at pretty much any age if your parent says okay.
They do, and we've tried that before, and it didn't go over so well with what we were trying to do.
Well, fair enough.
Do you remember?
Do I remember? Was I involved in
this? We were trying to get the Clarks to drink, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
We couldn't quite get Julie on board, but...
Well, that's... yeah.
Whatever.
Well, we'll have to work on that next time, That was enough. That was so many beers ago. Years ago.
That was a lot of beers ago.
Right.
Plus years. Beers plus years.
But yeah, I don't know. I suppose I could say it's not a 21 plus listening, viewing event.
Yeah, no, we don't have restrictions on it. So
we're not discriminatory.
No.
We're not even 18 plus, I guess, to a certain extent. We're going to keep that zipped up. It's fine. We'll be all right. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. That's going to be on our other page. That's a whole different...
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Andy's got an OnlyFans.
It's only cans.
Only cans.
Only cans.
There you go. Should I get out some ones right now?
I like it. As long as we're not going to get the twos going on.
To make it rain all over your chest, Andy. That doesn't sound good.
No, it sounds kind of, So today
anyways,
on the podcast.
Back to the beer. Pipeworks.
So
that doesn't sound good either, does it?
We were not even a couple minutes in, and we've already just gone right off the rails here. So welcome into the Two Guys and Beer podcast studio, talking about brewing beer and the breweries that do that. That is it. Nothing else, just straight, professionalism here in the wonderful studios of Two Guys and a Beer podcast. So glad you could join us for yet another episode. I don't even know what episode we're on, to be perfectly honest. 24, 25. It might be less than that, to be honest. I think we're probably maybe 23-ish.
If this episode comes out in any specific order, which we don't really do necessarily, this one would be episode 23.
There we go.
So we're moving right along.
I was kind of close. I was, ballparking it.
But, it's a nice ballpark.
It is. And, if you get to the right section of said ballpark, then you can have what we featured on one of our other episodes was Beer for Baseball.
Right.
Yeah,
which isn't far from this one that we're going to feature on this episode.
Exactly. That was from Off Color Brewing, which is about, I think I looked it up a little bit ago, about 4.5 miles away from this one. So if you're in the Chicago area, or I guess if you're not and you're just going through there, or you just have a hankering for some good beer, Pipeworks Brewing out of Chicago, Illinois is our deed today. That's where we're going to be drinking and talking about a little bit. They are 3912 West McLean Avenue in Chicago. One unique thing I will say about this, go ahead and stop by there. Go ahead and get yourself some Pipeworks Brewing. But first and foremost, they don't have a tap room.
Man.
There's not a lot of places that do that, but they just distribute. They do sell on site. Essentially, it's kind of like their own personal liquor store. You go in there, You can taste some of the beers. They have the beers available for tasting. And then you just buy like a 4-pack similar to the one that we have today, and every beer that they sell is for off-premise. They do not do an on-prem type of situation at all.
It's definitely a little different than what your typical craft brewery or small brewery does. I'm not quite sure how big this brewery is. But that's definitely a different way of going about it, for sure. Go in there, maybe take a sample, and then you got to buy what you want to buy, and you're out of there.
And if you can get yourself built up enough, in a way, you kind of save a little bit on the infrastructure. You don't have to have the tap room and the staff to be able to do that. And, not that glassware is super expensive, but, glassware and washing, and there's a lot of steps involved in doing that.
Licenses, I'm sure. And, like your experience with owning a bar, you're required to serve food.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Chicago's regulations are, but maybe breweries there are required to have some sort of food or something there. You save all that overhead on all those sorts of things.
And if you're going to have something like this, I'm not making a comparison because obviously size is much different, but you don't see like a Coors Light or Miller Lite having a tap room. I think maybe you might be able to taste some some of them in Milwaukee. I guess I'm not 100% sure, but you don't see that. Like, they're not a microbrewery kind of deal. You know, it's more of a, they're already well known and established. You can get it at any liquor store anywhere. They don't feel the need to have just the Coors Light ballroom or something like that.
Right. I wonder if Miller has a tap room. We took that tour out there at one time.
We did.
And I remember at the end, we got to sample at the end, but I don't think you can go there to drink. I think it's after the tour you drink.
Part of the tour.
You can hang out for a minute and drink a few different of their offerings, but I don't think you can go there to drink. I could be wrong. That was again many years ago.
Yep.
Type spiel.
If we have to do it again, we'll put it on the road trip map.
Don't twist my arm.
Exactly. So, so Pipeworks is what we're talking about today. Some of the other things that they do a little bit uniquely to a certain extent, they distribute, but they self-distribute. I mean, they will to like other states, they will like go through like a distributor and do that. But otherwise, generally, they just have a group of people that they like, all right, well, we got this keg and Manny's down the road needs a new keg of Ninja versus Unicorn or whatever it is that they have. Put it in your van and bring it down there.
Interesting.
So they do that, you know, which is good, you know, if you have the ability to do that and the people to do that. But usually, I'm sure that there's some sort of something involved. But that's another thing about like breweries that typically, if they want to sell, especially in the state of Minnesota, they have to go through a distributor.
Right. It's like a requirement.
And it's they can sometimes like bring it there directly, but they still like invoicing still has to go through because the distributor has to get their cut of the money,
they do.
You know, which sometimes actually ends up making that's part of, honestly, that's what I've heard in the past is why a lot of liquor stores don't carry kegs really anymore. It used to be where, you know, you could go like, all right, well, we're going to have just a rager at the old the farm and we're going to just post up a keg in the wash tub with a bunch of ice and $85 or $100 and, you know, maybe, you know, there's $20 for the tap handle or something like that, and we're just going to have a little kegger on our own a little bit. And now you go there and it's like almost $200 to be able to do something like that. Well, what had happened was they were selling the keg to the liquor stores, you know, at minimal cost, you know, whatever it was, you know, $30 or something like that, based on what they got it from the actual brewery. And the liquor store was then selling it for like $100 or something to be able to make their money on it because it takes up some space. I don't know if you know this or not, but kegs are a little bit big. They're a little bit bulky to move around. They're kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. So they were charging a little bit more for it. Well, then distributors like, whoa. You're not going to make $50 on this. We're going to make.
We're going to.
So now they're selling it to them for $95. And then naturally they had to kind of adjust up beyond there. Well, now even for bars, the cost of kegs has to be the same. They can't just change it for a liquor store. And so now a keg of Coors Light is $70, $80 because that's just moved up across the board. So instead of being able to get that's part of why beer prices have expanded, even for cheap beer, I guess, the light beers that don't cost hardly much to make, the distributors are getting the money.
Beer greed, man. Beer greed.
It's terrible. That's why you got to stay small, stay local, drink local. Was that up? Yep. Drink local. There we go.
Perfect.
And to make sure I ended up right there.
Play some pipe with Pipeworks.
So Pipeworks established Chicago in 2012. 2012 is what it is. As I mentioned, 4.5 miles away from Off Color Brewing. We did that one. That was so much fun. I really like it. We got to go check out both of these, really. I feel like I have had Pipeworks once upon a time in my life. The Ninja versus Unicorn, they always got fun names for all their beers.
They have a lot of interesting names, and it's quite the list, too. I don't know if you have it pulled up there or if you looked at it, but they have a long list of beer.
Trying to look through it a little bit, but I haven't seen all of them just yet. But the ones that the Unicorn is what we're doing today, which is a single IPA. The Ninja versus Unicorn is a double IPA.
Right.
And I'm always
Unicorn.
I'm always in for a DIPA, maybe even a tripa, although that gets a little bit heavy, a little bit aggressive sometimes. But nonetheless, the mini Unicorn is what we have. IPA, standard, regular, normal size. Well, tall boy, but.
He is a tall boy.
The regular IPA today. That's what we're doing. But Pipeworks is mentioned 2012 by friends that shared a dream of crafting quality and creative beers.
Well, they definitely have creative in there with a name like Mini Unicorn. That's for sure.
They say that they've garnered accolades for the distinctive beers and the original artworks, which if you see the artworks, I encourage you to go online and look it up. Look at their Instagram, Facebook, their social media. A lot of these, the wraps that they have are quite fantastic.
And they are interesting. I'll describe to everybody here the mini unicorn. When I first brought up to Andy when we were talking about this, if you look at the can, those of you that are watching, you can see the can. Those of you that are listening, it reminds me of a Trapper Keeper from the mid-90s. The hot pinks, the hot blues, fluorescent green, fluorescent blue, fluorescent yellow. Like that's the color of the can, those 90s hot pink fluorescent color cans. It's a silver can with the major colors blue, but the unicorns are all different colors. Fruit stripe gum, if you will.
There you go.
You know,
yep.
That's kind of what the can looks like. So the artwork on the can's pretty cool. And to be honest with you, that's what drew me to this 4-pack when I bought it. When I was browsing the liquor store, I saw the can and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to take a look at that. So here we are, right here in the Two Guys in Beer studio, just because of the color.
Love it. Absolutely love it. They do have on their website, if you go to their website, there's not a ton of information there, but it is sold through many different states. They self-distribute, which I think we talked a little bit about that, through the areas of Chicago, Milwaukee, and Chicagoland area. But otherwise, they do have a whole list of different distributors that they go through. They don't have a specific map as far as what bars have it, because when you go through the distributor, it kind of makes it a little bit goofy there. But they do have a list there of the states that they go to. In Minnesota, they go through a Clear River Beverage, which is not one that I'm familiar with personally, but that's fine. I don't own a bar anymore, so I don't have to worry about things like that so much anymore. But they do distribute what appears to be between 15 and 20 states. So they do have a pretty good,
a decent reach.
Yeah, they do have a pretty good reach all the way out to Utah, Alabama, Colorado. So it's not just Indiana and Illinois. They do actually have a pretty good reach out beyond that. So, kind of a interesting, fun little deal. As you mentioned before, they do not have a tap room. They have the to-go shop called the Dojo. All beers are for off premises. Wednesday through Friday, noon to 7, Saturday, 11 to 5.
Perfect. I wonder if that cuts down on your bar insurance, because you're not really insuring.
Yeah, because if you're not
you
selling on sale, you don't have to have you don't have to have that type of, at least I wouldn't think. I don't know, maybe it's different in Indiana or Chicago, but yeah,
just
as
come
far
pick
as
up your beer and get the hell out, basically.
Yeah, then it's just like a liquor store, essentially. You're just doing off sale.
Yep.
Let's see here. They do self-distribution for new releases on Mondays. They have an email if you have a bar, restaurant, store, something you're looking to be able to get into. They have just it's sales at pipeworksbrewing.com. So it's not super complicated, just an easy way to be able to get that in there and be able to bring it in there. They do say that it might take a little bit, but they have a small but talented team. So passionate people doing beer. That's what we like to hear.
That's the way it goes.
They do not give tours as of yet, but they do try to get as much information out there. As I mentioned, they have the Facebook, they got the Instagram, they do have a lot of places to be able to kind of see what they're doing there. They do not ship beer as well. Technically, I don't think you're really supposed to do that, even though people do generally through the mail.
Yeah,
but that's
neither here or there.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. But they do sometimes. You can email them if you have questions about potentially being involved in a fundraiser. So maybe they would donate some beer for a fundraiser. I would like to have a fundraiser for my thirst.
That is a great fundraiser. That is fantastic.
So yeah, that's a lot of the info that they have out there on their site, at least. Try to look at some of the other information they have online, but it's kind of a little bit of a different deal. So we should probably actually have some of this. I've been talking for like 10 minutes here. Right. We haven't even gotten to the best part of the episode.
Should probably get into it and try it out.
Absolutely.
We should get a hold of them and see if they would want to be on the show. We say this every time, but this is a completely different type of thing. Not having a tap room and stuff. Just buy it and go. So it'd be interesting to hear their story, why they chose to do that, and how that all came about.
See kind of what the mindset is and what the thought process. Absolutely.
But in the meantime, shall we?
We probably shall.
We should try some mini unicorn.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah, it does have. It's almost like all the stickers that you would get on like the old the books.
Scratch and sniff.
Yeah, like all sorts of things like that. I'm not going to try that
Sticker
just yet.
books.
But
You don't want to scratch and sniff?
nope.
Yeah, it's an India Pale Ale. So
Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic, and Amarillo hops.
5%. Here we go.
All right, here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Every time. Love it. Yeah, it's a fun can. Stuff all over the place. It looks like just like...
It's a very fun can.
Like you get that sticker book for your kids and they put it all over the dang place and whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have kids, but I've heard tell. My dogs don't put a whole lot of stickers all over. So, all right, first sips
here. Shot. It's definitely fruity.
Yep.
It's citrusy.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say it's real heavy on hops, but it's like you get a fair amount, like I feel like I get a fair amount like right away, but then it kind of drifts off into like kind of the fruity tastes after that.
Yeah, you do get the bitterness right away for sure. It does get to the fruity taste, the citrusy, almost kind of like a grapefruit taste maybe there at the end.
Kind of smooths it out, I guess, in a way.
It's kind of dry. I think it's kind of a dry but light, light body type. And then the finish is maybe somewhat bitter, but more citrusy, I think, at the finish.
I think that the lawnmower scale, maybe one while doing it, maybe one afterwards, but I don't know that I'd have like a 6-pack of them or anything throughout the course of the afternoon. I mean, it's very good. I don't want to say it's not good. It is very good, but just from the way that it tastes, it's got some heaviness to it a little bit. It's got some hops to it. It's got some good flavor to it.
Yeah.
It definitely has some...
It does have good flavor. I don't know if I'll drink a lot of this mowing lawn, but because that's just not my style for that type of drinking. But for a pale ale, it's super light.
Mm-hmm.
I think of a pale ale as typically more hoppy than this one is, or more of a darker beer, more of a heavy beer. This one's kind of like a light, crisp citrus pale ale, essentially. So you could pound for if this is your style of beer.
Yep.
For
absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's kind of why I say I could probably do one or two, instead of just one. You get like a dragon's milk, and like I'm not even mowing lawn when I'm going to have one of those. That's just going to be that, and that's going to be the end of it. But yeah, this is something. I mean, you could definitely have a couple.
This is definitely different. How it's got the hops to the citrus and the fruity. Like I think that's really cool about this beer. Actually, like the beginning, middle, and end of your taste. Like it really is. It really changes from 1, 2, and 3. It's almost like
you can feel where it goes through, because like I said, mentally I was going to say, well, it's definitely an IPA, but by the time I swallowed it and was going to start talking,
it's completely different.
I was like, oh, well, it's not quite.
It's almost like that candy Lickamaid. You have those white chalky candy sticks, and you dip it in the powder and you eat it. Well, they had the different.
Did you ever
the
use
flavor
the stick?
Changes. No, you just eat the stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the stick is better than the powder. But they had the flavor changing powder, if you remember.
Yep.
You'd put it on your tongue, it would taste great, but by the time you swallowed it, it was cherry. This beer reminds me of that a lot. It starts with a bitter hoppiness, but not very bitter, kind of a light bitter, and then gets sweet and grapefruity, and kind of at the end. That's what
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like it. It does have that transition. Is a very interesting transition, and I mean it gets into like how you brew it and what you're using, obviously, but it is kind of interesting to have that kind of different change within the same sip. Sometimes it's the first third of the beer will taste a certain way, but then your mouth feel kind of changes a little bit. But this one is just right from sip one is like bam, but then settles in right away. So it's very interesting. I like it. Pipeworks, hats off to you. Maybe I'll come to the dojo and, or go to a liquor store here. But it'd be fun to go down there, like you said, try to connect with them, see if we can't kind of get their mindset on that.
Any road trip's worth it at the spur of the moment. If we're going to Chicago tomorrow to dojo it up at Pipeworks, then I guess we're going to Chicago tomorrow.
We got to do what we got to do.
Really, we actually have to work tomorrow, but I don't know, next weekend, the weekend after, but you're gone. But
yeah, that's true. We can figure something out. I'm sure.
We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. I'll skip baseball or something. I don't know. Sorry, guys, can't be there. Got to go.
Right. I'm going to a brewery in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, what are you doing in Chicago? Going to the brewery.
I'm going to
I
lay
just told
pipe.
you I'm going to the brewery.
Going to lay pipe. That doesn't sound too good either, but
No.
well, Mini Unicorn, that's quite the interesting name. I'd sure like to know how they came up with that name, Unicorn Beer. I don't typically associate like a unicorn with beer.
Right.
Or the colors of the can. I wonder if they're trying to attract a younger audience with the colors.
Maybe. Could be.
The underage.
It's working for me because I'm quite young.
Well, it keeps you staring at the can. You are getting young, Andy. You are becoming young. I think you're regressing. You hit your peak, now you're going back down. Next year, 38, 37.
Right? That's just my height at this point. That's all that's what's going south right now.
Shrinking down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to know why they come up with the unicorn name. That's half the fun of some of these microbreweries and small breweries. It's just the different names that they come up with. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that they probably have an idea of, where they're coming up with the ideas or why or whatever. But that's something, like I said, we'll have to try to see if we can get them on the podcast, be able to talk about it a little bit and see what they have to say about it.
Yeah.
Where their inspiration comes from.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Well, I got a few things about unicorns. Mm-hmm. I actually had to do some research about this because I thought it'd be interesting to find some facts or tales or whatever you want to call them about unicorns.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I like it.
I don't know anything about unicorns. I think I've seen them on TV.
They're like a narwhal horse.
Exactly. The narwhal, which of course would be a whale. Or
they got the horn, it's kind of the same,
Which actually a lot of things when I was reading about unicorns on the internet to share with all of you, a lot of like the old writings of them, people thought they would see a narwhal or a rhinoceros or something, and they would equate that with unicorns and their descriptions of them. I didn't bring any of those interesting tidbits with me, but that you brought up narwhal, a lot of the old BC, medieval type times, kings and queens, that's what they would equate with unicorns, is those particular animals, and narwhal and rhinoceros and things like anything with one horn.
Interesting.
And since we're talking about medieval, we'll continue on with that. So one of the big myths and things about unicorns that's widely believed is the horns had magical powers. Not necessarily that was their magical powers, but they would cure things like disease and poison and this and that. So if you were full of disease, Andy, I would stick you with my horn and you you would be cured. I'm glad that I'm healthy.
I'm glad I'm doing okay.
Well, we're laying pipe in Chicago. I'm sticking Andy with my horn. He is becoming disease-free. Today, I think it's the other way around. I think you get disease.
I was going to say, I don't think that's usually how that works. So,
but for unicorn purposes, back in the medieval times and even the unicorn lore, if you stuck somebody with a unicorn horn, it would cure disease, rid your body of poisons and things like that. So King James, back in those times, I don't know which one, 1, 2, or 3, 10, 20, I don't know. One of the King Jameses once poisoned one of his servants just to see if the horn that he was given was an authentic unicorn horn.
I'm guessing it wasn't.
It was not.
Oh, man.
The servant died.
Ugh.
And then King James found out his horn was not an authentic.
Well, it's a good thing he found out before he, did something serious.
Unicorn horn. Yeah. Like taking somebody's life.
I wonder what the first clue was. Was it made out of wood?
Who knows? It was probably a narwhal horse.
Oh, it could have been. Yep.
So that was kind of interesting. Like, oh, okay. We're just going to poison people and stick them with horns and see if they survive.
People have done a lot of weird things for a lot of weird reasons over the course of time.
Yes, they sure have, especially back then.
Mm-hmm.
A Pegasus. That's a unicorn with wings. the horses that supposedly fly.
There we go.
Hey, that movie, The Never-Ending Story, was there a unicorn in that white horse?
I think that there was.
I mean, there was
that white horse, the one, way to bring up trauma there, the white horse that gets, like sucked into the mud. Yeah, was not a unicorn.
Okay.
No.
And who was the damn dragon that flew around?
Falcor. The luck dragon.
Right.
Falcor, the luck dragon, which I have some sunglasses that are, it's called they're Gooders. So Gooders, if you've ever had Gooders, they're kind of nice sunglasses and they're like $30 a piece. And so, they're fine, but they all have like interesting, crazy names to it or whatever. So it's a pair of blue sunglasses that are Falcor's Fever Dreams.
Oh.
And so I got those and everybody, I'm like, oh, look at it. Cool name. And they're like, the hell's Falcor?
What?
I'm like, how do you not know the luck dragon? Like,
what? He was a friendly fella.
I have to explain it to them. And like, oh, I didn't realize he had a name. I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. Come on.
Of course he had a name.
Yeah, his name is Falcor.
Right. Oh, so there's no Pegasus in that movie. I thought there was a unicorn in that movie. I remember the white horse getting stuck in the mud, but apparently that wasn't a unicorn.
I don't think it was a unicorn.
It didn't even have wings.
I could try to research. No,
I haven't watched that.
It definitely did not have wings.
Okay.
But I don't think that it was a unicorn. I think it was just his trusty steed.
Sure. Wasn't so trusty in the mud.
Nope.
So we know what a Pegasus is. A Pegasus is a winged horse, but it's not a unicorn. So no horn, Pegasus.
Just wings.
I think they're on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Pegasus, yeah. A baby unicorn, it's called a sparkle.
Is that kind of like a mini unicorn? Am I drinking a sparkle? Is that what's happening right now? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
You could be drinking a sparkle. A mini unicorn could be considered a baby.
Fair enough. I mean, it could be. You never know.
It's kind of confusing.
Either that or we're just judging because they have mini horses. I know that those are real and exist. They do have mini horses.
They do.
I think we both know some people that deal with those. Or at least I do. Maybe you do. I don't know. We'll figure that out later.
I don't know if
Carry on
right now. So we're drinking the sparkle here. Well, a group of unicorns is called a blessing.
Obviously it is.
Right. I mean, you just see those prancing around all over the place. They're in a park in Montana that I can't think of the name right now.
Blessing, Montana?
Right.
Oh, good.
There's groups of them. Blessings of them all over the place. Blessings of unicorns.
So like a group or a gathering of baby unicorns, would that be sparkle blessing or a blessing sparkle?
I like blessing sparkle.
Blessing of sparkles?
Can you bless a sparkle?
Well, if you have enough of them.
I don't like sparkles a whole lot. Sparkles remind me of glitter, and glitter gets all over everything.
That's true.
And just gets on your face.
It's like that song from Pink. Have you ever thrown a fistful of glitter in the air? No, because I have to clean that up later.
It's so bad.
A terrible idea.
It's so bad. What else? So according to a legend, a unicorn holds power of divine truth and will pierce a liar's heart with its horn. So it's another power of the unicorn horn.
I feel like that's another thing that probably was tested in medieval times. But it was probably kind of like witch trials. Like stab him in the heart and he dies. He's like, well, I guess he was telling the truth.
And see what happens. I'm thinking we need a few of these divine unicorns in Washington, D.C. We would nail them liars real fucking quick.
They'd probably melt before they got there.
Right. There would be nothing left.
Yeah.
Then I can take over and rule with an iron fist.
There you go. There you go. I like it. So let me ask you something. What is more realistic here? Because there's real animals and fake animals. You talk about different animals, like even a rhinoceros, with it really seems like that should actually be just a dinosaur that shouldn't even really be around, to be honest. But you look at a giraffe, that's a real thing. That's a goofy looking thing.
They're big and tall,
but yet a unicorn doesn't actually exist. Like, what's more believable? And I'm kind of stealing from the internet a little bit here. So like whatever Reddit or Facebook post or whatever's out there, whatever, but what's more believable? A horse with a horn or a leopard moose camel with a 40-foot neck? I mean, come on, we're getting to the hard truths here tonight, folks. That's like,
that's a super hard.
If you were to try to describe a giraffe to somebody that hadn't seen one, would they think that that's like a believable thing? So here's this gigantic thing.
with a 40-foot neck.
It looks kind of like a leopard. It's slower than hell. Actually, I think they're kind of fast. They are pretty fast.
Actually, yeah.
But that's because they got legs that are like 35 feet long.
They have a really good kick, too.
Yeah.
So,
but it just doesn't seem, to drink water, they got to like work their way down because they can't really bend the neck.
right. No, that is true. Yeah, I've seen that before on like a nature show or something. At some point in time when I watched one, that they do. They put their feet out pretty far wide and get down.
Yeah. But yet unicorns, not a thing. Well,
They're not
I don't know. Maybe we're just being told that lie. I don't know. Maybe they are being held in some government warehouse or something.
Well, I got a little tidbit.
They're in
for you.
the Australian outback.
We'll talk about in a little bit about hunting unicorns.
Oh.
We got some good information on that.
The plot thickens.
You can get licensed to hunt unicorns and everything. I almost thought about trying that today, but I just ran out of time. So
you were going to get licensed for it.
I was going to get licensed. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But did you know Asian acorns, they gallop so smoothly, maybe like this giraffe you're talking about, that they don't even crush a blade of grass? That's the Asian ones. That's the Asian unicorn.
That's why you can't track their hoof prints.
You cannot.
Yeah, because they don't leave prints.
They do not.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if they have hooves.
They'd be great.
Feet.
That's true. Yeah, they may have paddles or something for their foot. Yeah, you don't even know.
It's all lore.
Yeah.
The national animal of Scotland. Scotland. Great country of Scotland. Mm-hmm. Great Scott.
Great Scott.
A unicorn. That is their national animal.
I mean, it's got to be somebody's. It's got to be somebody's.
Oh. All right. So here we go. I got to get my notes here, my bullet points, so I don't forget stuff. But hunting unicorns. You ever thought about even hunting a unicorn?
Mm-mm. I have not. Nope. That has not crossed my mind.
That never came about?
Nope. It has not been...
As you drinking a sparkle?
Yeah. I mean, somebody else did. So it's fine.
Well, to be honest, I guess I never thought about hunting a unicorn either, but I bet you have no idea where to begin.
Is that why is mini unicorn? Because they popped the horn off and just poured it out? That's why there's so many horses. They're taking the horns off when they're young.
So they stripped them.
Yep.
Of their being.
And they, had to squeeze it out like an orange into this, ferment it for a little while, and now we have mini unicorn sparkle IPA. That
is a good theory.
We've talked about this before, that when you get a good solid beer or two in, that's when
the great ideas,
the best ideas start flowing
the myths and the legends and the lore just come up. Well, where would you look for a unicorn if you're hunting in an enchanted forest?
There aren't a lot of those around here.
No.
Minnesota doesn't have a lot of those. Yeah.
We have a lot of forests. I don't know if they're enchanted.
Yeah, I don't know where you would find that. I feel like it'd be in like the hills of Austria or something.
It might be prettier over there. It's a mountain backdrop.
Right.
Floating
Could be.
Around.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it'd be somewhere there. I don't feel like it'd be in the Midwest.
Well,
go to the Senex in Ames, Iowa. Where's the looking for an enchanted forest? You got one?
Well, I'm
willing to drive a little bit.
Looking to hunt some unicorns, maybe a mini unicorn or two.
Before I take off, though, have you seen Sasquatch lately?
Which actually is funny you bring that up.
Going squatching?
Because another beer that I have in my fridge for another podcast has got a Sasquatch on it.
Oh, here we go.
And that's got out of Washington, the state of Washington. So that'll be on a future episode at some point.
There we go. Part of the national tour.
Right. I picked it up when I saw the unicorn. And I thought, what goes better with a unicorn than a Sasquatch?
Right.
For lore.
Love it.
And mythology. Whatever you want to call it. Well, if you're not looking in an enchanted forest or somewhere on Earth that you have to be looking, well, what do you need when you hunt? You have to have a license.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the government wants their money. Yeah. You don't want to.
Otherwise, they're poaching.
Yeah, you don't want to do that with unicorns. They're majestic.
I don't even know what unicorn season is. I feel like it's in the fall.
It's pretty much all year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair. I suppose if you can find one.
Right. And that's part of the problem. But you can only bag one unicorn a month, according to the rules of hunting unicorns.
Sounds legit.
And it has to be a male. You can't bag females because Females have yet to be found,
That's
apparently.
right. I can't generally bag females anyway, so that's the math adds up there.
Well, I don't think your wife would like that a heck of a lot, but I'll poke you with my horn if you need an adventure.
I don't think that's the line that you should go with.
I'm here for you. I'm here as a buddy. Pipeworks Mini Unicorn.
Mm-hmm. Great beer.
So you need a license to hunt stuff because, the government likes to steal our money, take our taxes 8 times, take more money. Well, Lake Superior State University in Sault Ste. Marie in Michigan.
Oh, I was going to say, I feel like that's in Duluth.
Well, Lake Superior is over there.
That's true.
It's a big lake.
I thought it was kind of half right.
But they will issue you a quest permit to go hunt unicorns. They don't call them hunting unicorns anymore because we don't want to call it that. So now it's called questing.
A quest.
For unicorns. So you go on a quest.
Who doesn't want to go on a grand quest?
But they'll grant you a unicorn quest permit. And thus, your adventure begins.
I'm going on an adventure.
So there's this instructor at this college that came up with this. His name is Bill Rabe. He had a couple other English professors with him there that founded this whole ordeal, the Department of Natural Unicorns of the Unicorn Hunters, now called the Unicorn Questers. This was actually founded in a college, Lake Superior State University in Sault Ste. Marie, around the early 1970s, is when this whole thing kicked off.
So I'm all for, especially from, I feel like educational locations, colleges, universities, things of that, throwing a little bit of extra money at certain things because you can create a little division of whatever to we're going to look at something that people haven't researched ever. And now we have come up with, you're probably throwing away a lot of the money, but at the same time, you come up with we have now cured polio or something. I don't know if that was a thing for there, but you know what I'm saying? You research development and, things like that. Instead of doing big business, you do it educational wise. Maybe it's a little cheaper or something. I don't know. But I like the idea of that. But when you start drifting off into mythological animals
at a university,
that's when you start, even from that standpoint, I guess to a certain extent, you can get a degree in not Roman mythology, Greek mythology.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's mythology. So it's mythological, not real.
Right.
Greek gods. So in theory, I guess, it's kind of the same kind of bit. So,
well, I guess if you're interested in that stuff, if you want to spend $20,000 a year learning it,
that's really what it is. The fine arts degrees, a lot of them don't tend to go a lot of places,
right?
Except for if you get to be really good at it, then you end up being a professor and then you make a lot of money doing
it. You sure do.
That's really the true trick that people have been able to pull off.
It sure is. Probably just this unicorn organization that they founded. The organization does make it clear that they don't condone violence or killing of the unicorns because they are mythical beasts. So they don't condone it, but they founded an organization to do that quest. So I don't know, kind of a...
So do they have conservation efforts or repopulation? Do they have ways to preserve?
Not that I'm aware of. Nothing I could read on their website. If you go to this college's website, you can find all the information on it there. There's rules. There's words you can say, words you can't say. There's
words you can't say?
Yep. Because
I'm always in for words you can't say.
they're banned to unicorn hunting words of 20. They change every year. 2025. I didn't have any of them here, but...
Wait. You can't say them while you're hunting, or you can't say them generally and get a license
while you're questing.
Questing. That's right.
We're questing. We're not hunting unicorns. We're questing unicorns. They do advise that all the questers bring a pair of pinking shears and a flask of cognac. You might need a few flasks of cognac if you're going to go around hunting for unicorns.
I'm not really sure what pinking shears are, but cognac I'm familiar with. I know that surprises you.
Really? Oh, I had no
Breaking
idea.
news. This just in.
No idea.
Two Guys at a Beer podcast have learned.
Well, like I said earlier, they've been giving permits since the early 70s. But the license, though, when you get a license to go quest for unicorns, they don't actually allow you the use of any weapons except for rubber-tipped arrows during October's annual Bow and Arrow Week. So no weapons, no violence. So I don't know how you're supposed to bag your one male unicorn a month, but...
You wrestle them down, you stab them with their own horn. Which, would that even work? Because that would heal them.
How would you, you'd snap their neck when you do that. Can they bring themselves back to life?
Well, if you stab them with a horn, that's restorative.
But if they're dead, does their horn have power?
That's a great point. We're going to have to research this. I wonder if the Unicorn Society of America
made a unicorn. What's real interesting is originally the licenses had to be physically mailed to the applicants, which is interesting enough. The guy that founded this with those English professors, he used his kids during summer vacation to stuff envelopes and send out these licenses.
Dad, what are we doing?
Making
money, son. Making money. Fooling silly Americans.
So one of his sons, I think if I remember correctly, his son's name was James. He said every time his dad was in any sort of media, the newspaper, a local television, local radio or something, they would get hundreds of requests a week to get these unicorn licenses sent out. So his kids that were spending summer break in school stuffing envelopes full of unicorn licenses.
So it's bad enough that now you're spending your summer break stuffing envelopes. But could you imagine being the kid of the guy that's this is what his thing is?
That's what you're going to do.
You now have to get on the bus. Trust me, I've ridden a bus in my day. I'm guessing you've ridden a bus or two in your day as a wee lad.
Oh, wow.
And the brutality that can happen from some of the kids and I know that, we can get into the whole bullying and all of the stuff now, when we were younger, it was just, oh, they're just teasing you and
right.
Whatever. I get it. I don't need all the hate mail. I understand. I totally understand. It was called some pretty brutal things. We'll talk about that on another podcast. But if your dad is the unicorn guy,
what'd you do this summer? Oh, I stuffed unicorn license letters and mailed them around the world.
Did you now overcorrect so far that the bullies just don't have to just go sit over there?
They don't even know what to do.
Give me your lunch or something. I don't even know. I feel like you would just have nowhere to go with it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That would be an interesting childhood growing up. But luckily, they don't have to mail them to you in the mail anymore. You can just simply go to the website and print off the PDF file.
Convenient. How convenient.
Right.
I don't want to have to try to wait 7 to 10 days for the postal service to bring me. If I got one trotting along my street out here,
right.
I mean,
boom. Download the PDF, fill out your information. You're good to go.
Nearby here, there is a Rainbow Street. So,
it matches the can. Oh, maybe this can be used as bait.
This might be, you start talking about
4-pack of this out.
You start talking about mythological areas and enchanted forests. Maybe I was wrong to think that the Midwest didn't have that.
Maybe
we just didn't see it with our own mortal eyes. That's what's happening here. This unicorn dust or the sprinkles have opened my mind's eye.
And the blessings. There could be a blessing on Rainbow Street.
Exactly.
We might need a couple 4-packs for the blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it out there. So when you fill out your form, your PDF form that you can download at your convenience on your PC
which is super convenient, really.
Your smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
You sign your name on it. You email a copy of that with your photo of yourself holding the license to marketing@issu.edu.
So a picture of yourself holding your license, like proof of life?
Well, they like to use your photo on their social media accounts.
I'm sure they do. I feel like you're just setting yourself up for ransomware. That's what's happening right now. That's it. 5 years from now.
So you can do this, and you'll be posted on their social media for unicorn hunting.
Don't tell my boss I might be doing this tomorrow at work.
And when you email them that basically is just giving you your release permission to be posted on their social media, essentially.
Do you get like some sort of certificate? Because I might just do this and then like hang it on the outside of my office.
There is a certificate.
There we go. It's all coming. It's all coming together.
In fact, Google up there on the computer, Lake Superior State University, and you will find the permit that you can fill out. It's actually pretty enchanting if you look at it.
Enchanting.
It is. Maybe we ought to get our own permits so we can hold it up on the next episode and be like, well, we're certified unicorn hunters. Who else in the state of Minnesota is a certified unicorn hunter?
What other podcast, ladies and gentlemen, will tell you how to be able to get yourself a permit to quest unicorn?
Right. You have it pulled up yet?
I got the unicorn questing regulations.
Is it not enchanted right
It's the Department of Natural Unicorns of the Unicorn Hunters at Lake Superior State University. They enforce the following edicts.
Yeah, there's lots of rules there.
Questing kit, bag limits, questing hours, day or night, except when the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus are around. There might be only so much magic available at one time.
Right, yeah, you can't hunt during those times. Questing runs all season except for those exceptions.
Questing season all days of the year except for Valentine's Day. No unicorn can be pursued during the 24 hours consecutive or during 24 consecutive hours of love.
Right.
I mean, it all makes sense.
It sure does. I mean, once you have your completed application, you're free to chase unicorns as long as you abide by all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few rules there.
It is pretty liberal, though. It does allow you to quest in imagination.
You sure can.
That is part of the license. It is available within that. So it is kind of all-encompassing, really. If you want to have a questing kit,
yes,
which is good.
Yeah, I forgot. Read what's in the kit. Yeah.
Because preparation, my friends, is the key to success in really anything.
Unicorn hunting. Unicorn hunting 101.
This is the suggested kit. You can add and, subtract to your liking, customize it for your own ability, but this is what the Department of Natural Unicorns suggests for your questing kit.
Here we go.
They don't recommend you actually quest, but because they don't want to kill the unicorns. But if you were going to do so, you want to bring the following supplies: serious intent.
I'm all about that.
General levity.
I can do that too.
Check.
Really, I can. I've got quite the vertical leap.
There we go.
So I can levitate for a good 3.2 seconds.
Sweet talk.
I don't have that.
We might need to find some friends.
Yep.
Refreshing beverages: a flask of cognac for adults, juice box for the children, or a bottle of medieval potion for unicorns.
Well, how about mini unicorn pale ale?
So if
that seems like a refreshment.
Okay, so then you need a curry comb, pinking shears, nail clipper with file, hoof and horn trimmer, hoof and horn polish, ribbons. It sounds like we're giving this unicorn a mani-pedi. Is what's kind of, it feels like that's where we're going here.
Well,
we're not hunting, we're questing it.
You're questing it. But you grew up on a farm. What if it's just like clipping a horse's hoof or a cow's? They shave them down and pull the rocks out.
That's true. We throw them on a little
put
tip
some iodine on there.
Yeah, put a little tip up thing and
salicylic acid and wrap the hoof up.
Get a grinder and
right.
Yeah.
Horn goes flying. Gets in your teeth.
Exactly. Yeah. You could also bring Arthurian legend books and or works by Chaucer.
I don't know who that is, but
I believe Geoffrey Chaucer is. I'll double check here. Geoffrey Chaucer, spelled. That's not the right one. I clicked on the wrong one. Chaucer is a Geoffrey Chaucer with a G, one of those Geoff. He was a poet that died in 1400.
Oh, perfect.
And he was also the what do you call it? The talking guy in A Knight's Tale. The movie A Knight's Tale
with Heath Ledger.
With Heath Ledger. He was the guy that they found on the side of the road that was walking naked. That was a poet that could make up.
Got it.
He called himself Geoffrey Chaucer. So he was Geoffrey Chaucer in that one. So
Wow.
We got works and
Dude, we're
legend
coming
books.
full circle now.
Exactly.
Full
We're
circle.
getting right there.
Yep.
And then optional, they say you can bring iambic pentameter.
Where do I get one of those? Is that next to the flux capacitor down at the tool rental shop?
For those that don't know, and I don't know exactly what it means. I know I've heard the phrase before because of the West Wing. They talked about it on there at one point in time, but it is a type of metric line used in English poetry and verse drama. The term describes the rhythm, meter, established words in each line, and the way that it's a phrase, the way phrases are built. It's a structure of a poem.
Perfect. So my least knowledgeable subject of all life, because I hated English, so I had no clue of any of that. So I can't go buy that down at the tool rental shop then.
As lines in iambic pentameter usually contain 10 syllables, it is considered a form of decasyllabic verse.
Perfect.
Easy for you to say.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I mean, what they were describing in the show that I was watching in the West Wing, was it definitely like it was hard to track what she was saying. So I was like, what in the world? Why is she talking like that? So like I kind of get, the bit that it's a thing. But yeah, no, it's definitely kind of beyond me. I could read a poem here if you really would like me to, but it's a
well, all the English majors at Westlake Superior College there should know all about that stuff.
Yep, they're probably got some iambic pentameter workshops for that.
I bet they do.
Some benefits, though, that I'm reading here. Anyone and everyone prepared to join the quest will be issued a unicorn license as long as potential members follow these rules.
Right.
Follow the above, which I'm assuming is all of these other things here, the questing kit and whatnot. Pay no dues.
Yeah, but it's free, so you don't have to pay. If you want to be a unicorn quester, you do not have to pay.
Exactly.
Well, actually, if you don't email them, you can send it to them. You will have to pay for postage.
Oh,
so
no purchase necessary.
Right.
Sort of.
No COD. For you young people, that means cash on delivery.
It's true. Attend no meetings.
Oh, perfect. I'm very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so good at that.
Are nice to people and unicorns alike. So nobody that has gone into a retail establishment in the last 20 years is allowed to be a part of this. Understand that in 1977, due to public concern over the then dwindling unicorn herds, we changed the word from to hunt to quest on the license while retaining the original title of the organization because we thought that was fair.
Oh, perfect. But isn't a group of them called a blessing that we learned?
It is.
They need to update their page.
That's true.
So I have verified these facts on the interweb.
Mm-hmm.
And everything you read is fact on the interweb.
I mean, you wouldn't put it on there if it wasn't
exactly
a thing. Yeah, this is you can hunting regulations, a hunting license. There's a whole section on the hunting history.
It's super in depth. I'm telling you, this isn't just your run of the mill print off a license and you have a unicorn license. Like the license itself is super enchanted. It's colorful. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of stuff on there.
It really is. This is a whole thing.
It's great stuff.
Oh my God. You can also, on this page, I don't know if you scrolled all the way to the bottom, but you can also get a permit for a snowman burning.
Snowman. I read about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like to burn snowman. I've never burned one before, but I read a little bit about that, and it's like paper snowman that they light up on fire in the middle of winter. So it's not a real snowman that's burning, but whatever.
Oh, I like this. We talked about the banished words thing before. Right. This is just the banished words for 2024 for misuse, overuse, or uselessness.
There's a lot of uselessness.
We have tumbled off the rails here.
I think we tumbled off the rails at the beginning of this episode because we picked out a beer that's mini unicorn.
That's probably true.
We're way off the rails.
So the words that are on this list, ironically, for the most part, I kind of agree with. Hack, because everything's a hack now.
Yep,
everything's a hack. Impact. I could go either way on that one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's an easy enough catchphrase.
Yeah, but it's getting kind of sickening. So, yeah, I can go with that one.
Riz.
That needs to go like 5 years ago.
Slay.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah, I haven't really heard that one used anywhere.
Cringeworthy.
That can go.
Mhm.
Everything's so cringe.
Obsessed. Side hustle. And wait for it. Those are your top 10 2024 banished words list from Lake Superior State University.
For unicorn questing.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's a whole explanation in all of these things. While perfectly acceptable in specific contexts, slay has transcended its original meaning and infiltrated situations where its usage no longer aligns with its intended significance. Its transition from a specialized term denoting exceptional accomplishment to a commonplace expression for any achievement prompts scrutiny into its misapplication, particularly, because that's the word that I'm going to get tripped up on,
Have another unicorn.
in the characterization or routine of mundane actions. Now it's sprinkled everywhere, from wearing a stylish outfit to tackling the art of parallel parking.
Okay.
That is their explanation on why slay. This isn't even, I don't think this is even connected to unicorns. I think this is just generally what Lake Superior University has decided. These words gotta go.
Well, if anybody goes to that college, please reach us out at 2guysandbeer@gmail.com and let us know what that's all about.
Interested about the snowman burning too. But apparently they hold their annual snowman burning in March by banishing Old Man Winter. That's what they do. They build a giant snowman and they literally burn that guy down. That's a real thing, though.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
Huh. From introduction to conclusion, the entire ceremony lasts approximately 15 minutes. That is the right type of thing for me.
Folks, and this is what you're spending your money for in college up there at Lake Superior State University.
This is
unicorn questing and snowman burning.
I support that. I'm with you on that one. I'll support that.
Before you go up there, stop by in Chicago and pick up some mini unicorn pale ale from Pipeworks Brewing.
Absolutely.
Where they lay pipe.
Very well, too. Mini unicorn, India Pale Ale, the episode today. And yeah, very good stuff, though. Very tasty. And like we said, like, it gets it, and then it just kind of smooths out right away.
It is very good beer. Yeah, it's got different flavors at different times when you drink it. I do recommend it. It's good. I would drink it again. We've made a lot of fun, a lot of jokes about unicorns and the flavor and stuff. But Pipeworks Brewing in Chicago, if any of their other beers are like this, they definitely know what they're doing something a little different. Real good beer. And I hope when we reach out to them, I hope to hear back from them at some point in time. And
absolutely.
we can talk to them. So
yeah.
Mini Unicorn Pale Ale. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.